What would you do if your landlord said, "You don't need to pay rent if you sleep with me instead"? Sounds wild, right? But this is the reality some people are facing right now in Canada, and it's part of a disturbing trend called sex for rent. Let's break it down. What's really going on, how financial desperation fuels it, and what lessons we can learn to protect ourselves financially. You're watching Personal Finance 101, where money meets real life. So here's the tea. In major Canadian cities like Toronto and Vancouver, the housing crisis has reached a boiling point. With skyrocketing rent and record-low vacancy rates, a dark predatory market has emerged. Some landlords are offering rooms or apartments in exchange for sex, instead of money, often using coded language and online ads. This isn't just unethical, it's often illegal. Legal professionals are certain these arrangements are illegal in Canada, falling under the 2014 Protection of Communities and Exploited Persons Act. The act makes it illegal to purchase sexual services or obtain a financial benefit from them, and housing is considered a significant benefit in this context. Tenants are encouraged to report such approaches and are not required to comply with these requests. But because housing is so expensive and financial literacy is low, many vulnerable people fall into this trap. This disproportionately affects young women, students facing tuition debt, and new immigrants who may lack credit history or a local support system. Now let's be clear. This is exploitation. It's a gross abuse of power, preying on someone's fundamental need for shelter and their desperation. But we can't ignore the deeper issue here. The affordability crisis has pushed people to the edge. People are broke. They are financially stuck, with wages that don't keep up with the cost of living, and when you're in that place of desperation, you don't always see another way out. Real estate agents and community leaders cite the lack of available housing and excessive costs as factors that encourage this unscrupulous behavior. This creates a pressure cooker environment where caution is thrown out the window, opening the door for those looking to exploit the situation. Rising demand, inflation, and a lack of available housing, according to one real estate agent, create desperation. This forces people into dubious agreements just to find a place to live, compelling them to accept handshake deals or pay huge deposits without proper paperwork. Here's where personal finance comes in. In most of these stories, the common thread is financial desperation. When you have no savings, no emergency fund, and no stable income out, rent becomes a crisis, not a bill. This constant state of financial precarity clouds judgment and makes it nearly impossible to negotiate from a position of strength. This is where we need to talk about financial literacy, especially for young people. Building a strong financial foundation isn't just about getting rich, it's about building a fortress against exploitation. Rent should never exceed 30% of your income, but most people don't even know that. Emergency funds save lives, not just your finances, but your dignity and freedom. Having that cushion gives you the power to walk away from a bad situation. Desperation makes you vulnerable to predators. Financial freedom is also personal protection. This trend may be happening in Canada, but the lesson is global. When people are not taught how money works, how to earn more, save better, and build independence, they're easier to exploit. This knowledge is power. There has been a significant rise in home rents in Canada, especially in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver. In Toronto, a one-bedroom apartment's rent averaged $1,600 in 2013. That amount rose to $2,503 by 2022. Over the same period, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Vancouver increased from $995 to $1,543, as per the Globe and Mail. Average prices are equally expensive for home buyers. As of July 2025, a good mortgage rate in Toronto required an income between $184,024 and $213,980. The current average price of a property is around $1 million. Between 2000 and 2021, average home prices nationwide rose by 375%. The median income, meanwhile, did not keep up. It increased by 86.5% from $23,100 in 2002 to $42,090 in 2022. So how do we avoid ever being in such a desperate position? Here are 4 things you can start doing today. 1. Build an emergency fund. This is your financial shield. Start small. Aim for N50K, N100K, or $500 and automate the savings. This buffer protects you from sudden job loss or rent hikes, giving you breathing room to make clear-headed decisions. It's not just money, it's peace of mind when life gets real. 1. Learn to earn. In today's economy, don't rely on one income stream. Explore side hustles and freelancing or develop high-demand digital skills. Having multiple sources of income isn't a luxury. It's a key part of building financial resilience, ensuring you're not left stranded if one source dries up. 1. Know your rights. Knowledge is your best defense if you're a tenant, especially abroad. Understand your lease and local laws on rent increases and evictions. Tenant unions and legal aid can help. Predatory landlords thrive on ignorance. Report them. Exploitation isn't rent, it's abuse. 1. Get financially educated. This is the foundation that empowers you. Channels like this one exist to help you take back control, but don't stop here. Read books, listen to podcasts, and learn the basics of budgeting and investing. Knowledge is power, and that power protects your future and gives you options. The sex for rent trend in Canada is more than a scandal. It's a symptom of a larger financial illness: poverty, poor planning, and power imbalance. Let's use this moment not just to point fingers, but to open eyes. If you're watching this, promise yourself something. You will never let desperation define your decisions. Start small, build slow, but build. Hit like, share this video with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe for more no-fluff money content every week. This is Personal Finance 101, because money is personal.